How's it going, guys? It's Joe. Welcome to the channel. We are in round 2 of our 3v3 matchup here, and we're going against Bunny Wabbit. So this gent is going to be an interesting matchup as well. Got about 500k more GP, matched up in the top 80, and outranks me fairly decently in terms of tier 7 relics. We're pretty close. And talking about mods, he's got 4 more speed plus 20. However, he's got so much more plus 100 offense. Looking at the lifetime banners as well, he's got about 20k more. So not too high a discrepancy there. So it's a pretty decent matchup this time around. I'm going to be going against this gentleman, and he's from Alpha Squad. Which is the exact same guild that Klesso is in. So if you guys are fans of Klesso, I know I am. I might be matched up with him if I win this particular battle here today. So looking at his stats here, his highest was 3000 Kyber, and he's got all the Galactic Legends and all ultimate abilities. However, he doesn't have Jedi Luke. Pretty solid Sith squad here as well. And looking at the holo tables here, at the bottom he's got that Finn squad, a JTR with the Vets, and of course Rey. At the top there's Grievous, Geonosians, and Separatists. So there's no mucking around here. We're going to go straight for the Finn squad here, and we're going to use our Jedi Knight Revan. So first things first, I'm going to mark Finn. Going to use that AoE, and we're going to spread our foresight around, past that assist onto Grandmaster Yoda. And we've almost got Finn down, so we're going to pass this onto Grandmaster Yoda. And now we're going to go for Resistance Hero Poe. So this team is really formidable on defense. So you've got to make sure you save a solid offensive team for this particular squad. I've had it where I tried to use Rex against this team and it didn't go too well, and I had to clean up. So typically what I would use against this team, Jedi Knight Revan or CLS, can be really effective. And we get a solid 54 banners here. Moving on to the next one. So that's quite an interesting lineup there, where they've got a JTR lead with the Vets. And I actually attempted this with my Vader and Emperor Palpatine. So first things first, we're going to try and get rid of the Vets here. Quickly get rid of Chewie there. However, if you have a look, Vet Han Solo is doing a ton of work, and we've officially got foresight on both these characters, so I miss that mass stun, and Vader has pretty much been stun locked for the duration of the battle, and as you can see, we lost our second matchup here. So we've got to do a quick cleanup just after this battle, and I wanted to make sure I still had enough on offense to finish this GAC, and this is the particular team that I didn't allocate against any of his defenses. So I'm gonna apply ability block there with Old Ben. Get more ability blocks via Bastila Shan's basic. finally got rid of Vet Han there. And the great thing about having Jedi Training Rey on defense is that she just cleanses all these debuffs off of her via her Zeta. So she's got a couple of Zetas, and she just keeps regaining Foresight as well. So she can be quite troublesome in 3v3 defense. However, I do find a ton of uses for her on offense, so I like to keep her for that. Props to this gent, as this was a pretty creative defensive squad. And if you had a close look, his vets were actually reliced up quite high, as if you're just going for Galactic Legends, they're usually just in the Relic 3. However, his vets were Relic 6 and 7, so it was a tough cleanup. So we're going to go for this Rey, and we're going to quickly utilize our Kylo Ren with Wat Tambor and Thrawn. So Han shoots first, he stuns Thrawn here. I'm going to use my Furious Onslaught, as that's going to dispel that stun. Going to pass this Bactoid onto Thrawn, and going to pass some turn meter onto Kylo Ren here. We're going to stun L3. And at this point, we haven't procced anything terrible, so we're going to go for Han Solo. We get a good dodge there, and now we're going to fracture Rey. As you can see, unfortunately with this team, we're not really generating much ultimate ability bar. However, we're going to stun Han Solo here and get rid of him quickly before Rey goes into her ultimate. Having that healing tech on Kylo is extremely useful. As you can see here, I'm going to use that Furious Onslaught, try to siphon more stacks. At this point, we're going to lose Wat Tambor and Thrawn, and we're going to quickly try and get rid of L3 here. And essentially what Wat Tambor does here is he's a really solid safety net in 3v3, as you're going to be regaining protection fairly quickly as you're taking turns, that you're able to survive Rey's ultimate enough to generate ultimate ability bar. And by the time I got to my second ability there, I had enough damage to take Rey out before she goes into ultimate yet again. So in the back walls here, he's got a Night Sister squad. Looks like a Troopio there, under HK lead with BB-8. And look at that, Mothma and the Rebels. So pretty interesting 3v3 defensive matchups here we've got. Although there's nothing too threatening in the back walls as it looks like. So we're going to go straight for this Grievous team using our Talzin-led Night Sisters. So we're going to stun Grievous here. However, it looks like we did too much damage there with that stun, and we force marked B2 as a result. So we're just going to utilize our AoE here and try and apply as much plague stacks as quickly as possible. So while we're hitting B2 here, we're actually we're destroying B1 stacks as well, just via the plague. We're going to stun B2. And we're just slowly getting through those B1 stacks, although B2 is getting a fair bit of health back. And we'll lose Mother Talzin here, however we've got the revive just in time. And we finally get rid of those B1 stacks. At this point, we're able to revive Spirit fairly quickly. However, we lose her again, but we get her back from the revive. Gonna use this mass assist here, and just gonna get rid of Grievous there for 51 banners, which is a pretty solid banner count when utilizing Night Sisters against Grievous in 3v3. Now looking at this Kylo Ren team, it's pretty solidly modded. So that's a really tanky Kylo Ren unmasked, and we've got a First Order Stormtrooper that's easily as tanky. The main problem here is that if you look closely, that OG Kylo is actually doing a ton of damage on R2-D2 with that AoE. So that's what we have had to be quite careful with when going against this particular lineup using JTR. So the idea here is that I initially stealthed JTR up. However, when I noticed that I was losing too much health on R2, I decided to utilize my ability block and third ability on OG Kylo instead. And that way we're able to control their turn meter. As if we've already got ability block on Kylo Ren unmasked, he's not going to be much of a threat. And at this point we should be able to apply healing immunity as well using that assist, and it should be smooth sailing from here. So we're going to be using my typical counter to bugs here, which is a Traya-led Sith squad. And we've still got Nihilist, so we're just going to throw him in with the mix. And they did place Droideka. We have to be fairly careful, ensuring that we've got a taunt on our Scion before that Droideka unleashes that damage. So Spy wasn't under stealth, and there was no reason for me to utilize that AoE ability from Scion. So I just used the second ability. And now we're going to try and get rid of Spy here, and we were able to get rid of him there. So it looks like we had good timing there where we had taunt by the time Droideka utilized his second ability, and now we've got Annihilate onto Droideka. We pretty much had Isolate the whole time on that Brute. That way we can just stop that taunt from coming back. So I hear a lot of things about mothma being quite viable, regardless of not being in 7 stars. Unfortunately, this is the first time I've experienced going up against her in 3v3. So this should be quite an interesting matchup. However, I still had gas here, so I didn't waste any time. And I utilized him for Night Sisters as he prevents any type of revive from his leadership. Although they didn't have Daka in this particular Night Sister squad, so that wouldn't be an issue. The funny thing is, apart from Gas's leadership, he actually didn't do much in this battle, as you're about to see. He was pretty much stun locked the duration of the battle, and Chewie 5s were doing a ton of work and a ton of damage here. As you can see, we made quick work of those Night Sisters. And that's another interesting lineup there up the top with Newt, Wat Tambor, and 3PO. And I still had my bugs here. And the bugs have got a dispel, so it's quite handy with Dooku Stealth. As you can see, almost 90k damage on Dooku there after that special ability. And after I utilized Geo Spy's third ability, that quickly got them off the stealth. So pretty solid dispels in this lineup as well as cleanses. And Jango finally takes a turn, so he's off damage immunity. You can finally target him here. Gonna utilize that third ability and apply expose, and we drop Jango there. A quick work of Magna Guard as well. Now we still have Padme. Although we don't have GK, as I actually placed him on defense. So this would be the perfect time to use Padme here. Wat Tambor is really fast and applies 2 techs out on the field. So it looks like we've got the health tech on Newt and the Bactoid shield on 3PO. So we're getting a fair bit of protection up. And after we got the 10 stacks of courage there, we're able to quickly get rid of Wat Tambor. And it looks like we've lost a ton of protection on Padme. And we were able to throw out that cleanse just before the match ended. So HK led Chewpio and BB-8. We're going to be utilizing Hux, Sith Trooper. And it should be First Order Stormtrooper here as well. So we're going to do a mass assist onto Chewpio, get him out of the way. Going to apply advantage onto our characters here. And we're able to quickly get rid of BB-8. Going to pass this turn on to Sith Trooper. And I want him to get the last hit, so I'm actually glad that he assisted just after that counter, as I'm going for the feat. Hopefully after the third round I'm able to get that feat out there. So this last battle will be against the Mothma squad, which I heavily underestimated, as you're about to see. I'm gonna speed it up here, guys, as it was a really long battle. Although the funny thing is that this base is really tanky, and we weren't able to apply enough damage onto this squad with this Night Sister mixed First Order team. Although Asajj was able to dispel the buffs that the rebel teams were getting, we weren't applying enough damage. And the trick with Mon Mothma is that you can't actually target her for attacks. So it's mainly the AoEs that are able to damage her at this point. And we did get Baze quite low, however, there's so much synergy and assisting going on with this team. And every single time they're getting health regen, and not to mention Baze is pretty tanky, but you've got Chirrut here who also cleanses and applies all these healing over time. So we're quickly running out of time at this point for the draw, and we may have to do another cleanup here. However, it looks like I still have Poe and the veteran smugglers here, which is probably the team that I should have utilized early on. So we're stuck behind Baze's taunt, and Chewie does so much damage there, as you can see, and Vethan does the job for 20k damage there. And we finally get rid of Chirrut. So this is my ship battle, guys. Pretty typical. Negotiator mirror. Stole all my banners. However, still a good result. So I'm quite happy with the result here, guys. I went really defense heavy this particular round, and as part of my process, I always like to change it up every single round, and that just makes the game much more exciting for me and challenging. There were a couple of cleanups here and there, but as you can see, that's I placed most of my teams that I use on offense on defense this time around, and that CLS held for 8 battles. However, I do strongly feel that my opponent had just run out of teams towards the end, although we did have Han Solo and 3PO on that team. So overall, exciting GAC, guys, learning new things every day. And it looks like I'm going to be going against Klesso next, so stay tuned for that. But as always, I will see you guys on the next one.